Okay, so I want to cover this larger disingenuous topic that's been going on, and it's been circulating around a few games, not just Marvel Spider-Man 2, but also God of War, where people are minimizing the game from a quality perspective because they're saying and reiterating in synthesis that it looks like the same game. It looks like DLC. Why am I paying $70 more for an expansion pack or something that could be seen as micro updates? And I find that to be extremely disingenuous. Not really. It's all coming from the realm of grifting, as we clearly see. Like, people grift and cite misinformation and misunderstanding all the time for clicks. And we see it 24/7, nonstop, all of the time. And to this topic, like, I could just sort of pepper in. When you say a sequel is the same game, you know what the phrase is, right? You know what the grand saying is. If it's not broken, don't fix it, but a sequel fixes stuff anyway to make that original experience better. And you can find elements and mechanics and new additions in sequels that you simply don't have in the original. Therefore, you saying that it's the same game 100% layered in is pretty stupid. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard of. Like, can I go back and equip the symbiote suits and have those mechanics where I could use like the slimy tendrils and hit people with them? Can I do all that shit in Marvel Spider-Man PS4? No, I cannot do that. So that is the stupidest statement of all time. And we're going to break down some of these videos talking about the negativity of Spider-Man 2 and also what started this in the first place, which I think this is the point of origin, and is David Jaffe saying that this PlayStation exclusive, which is God of War Ragnarok, feels like DLC. And we're gonna cover it and do our reactions. I will skip videos just so I can avoid brain rot, so I won't be watching all of them. But here we go. Let's start off with the symbiote suit is bad.
Prepare to be triggered.
And Lucas starts off with the typical dude bro response. So you're gonna be triggered. No one's triggered by this video. You just look like a dumbass. And of course, there's been people that said stuff stemming from his channel has been some of the most terrible Spider-Man opinions they've seen. And I've seen that in action. Witty said this. Colin said this. Featured Lucas in both of their videos. So it's not just me saying that this guy is an idiot. Also, I remember you too. You were in my comment section saying that people were gonna riot in the streets over not having the black symbiote Raimi suit in Marvel Spider-Man PS4. What the fuck? Okay, nobody's rioting. The game went on to sell 1.5 million on PC. So either you are grossly incorrect or people just didn't care. I think it's both. If you want to ask my honest opinion.
Oh my goodness. So, first things first, let me just say, I think Spider-Man 2 is going to be a good game, just as good as Spider-Man 1 was.
Now, he says that, and I wonder if progressively will his opinions start to become, oh, this game feels like trash, because his channel so far for Spider-Man content seems like a negative hive of getting on the game and doubting the game before it even drops.
However, having said that, I think that Insomniac has fallen prey to a poison that has infiltrated what we see on the MCU. And that poison is over-design.
Huh? Okay, I'm gonna let him continue. Continue, please. What the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean by that?
What I'm talking about is this visual clutter. When it comes to suit designs, for example, Homecoming suit. It's a good suit, right? Good suit. However, there's over-design. And the over-design appears, it shows up in the form of lines. These little lines all over the place. And it's like, why? Why do we have these lines, right? Red, blue, and black. But then you have these.
I mean, this, remember when people were complaining about uh Peter's Spidey Supreme outfit having the lines on the arms and shit? And it's just like, overall, I guess this is a more subjective thing. You know, people are gonna say, "Oh, do I like this suit?" Probably, or I don't like this suit. Probably not. You know, probably I do, probably I don't. So I don't have a problem with the lines on the arms and shit like that, but I don't know how it correlates to him saying that the suit for Spidey PS5 is over designed. I just, he's gonna show it in a minute, but I just don't see it. It's just,
Lines.
continue, please.
The lines right here. You have the lines on the legs. And the lines don't do anything for the suit. They don't add anything to the suit. They don't complement the anatomy.
I I don't I don't think it's meant for anatomy. I just think it's designed that way to blend in with the design itself and look cool. You see what I'm saying? It's not meant to give him an edge or enhance his agility or anything like that. I understand when suits do that. That's kind of cool too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna agree with that. That's kind of cool when someone makes a suit and it enhances them physically and it helps them move around and all that other stuff. That's cool. I mean, Batman has like suits like that all the time, where it adds more to his gadgets. It adds more to what he pulls out and uses. Lowering weight. That's cool. I do like that idea, but sometimes people will make superhero costumes so they could look badass. And I think this is what the lions entail. This is probably why it was made like that in the first place.
Of the suit, especially on the legs, it doesn't do anything. And it's not
It's not supposed to. It's just like making a two-tone color on a suit. What does the color do? Does it enhance anything outside of making the personality of the suit stand out more? That's it.
like they're dark blue or light blue to complement the blue. They're just black.
It's just oh man, he just contradicted himself. That's funny.
They're hard black lines. And it's like, okay, they're black lines, meaning you
Hard black lines. Just that sentence alone. I'm sorry. Oh my god, I'm laughing already. We just started.
want me to see them. But upon me seeing them, they don't do anything. It's just clutter. It's over design. What did people say some of his best suit is thus far? The Far From Home suit. You want to know why? Because it's simple. And that principle, it's a principle that is ubiquitous. Okay?
I mean, if I really want to get technical, still, it still is black lines on the suit. It just blends in with the color, and sometimes it doesn't really have to. It's just a design. It's like a logo, putting something on a logo, a solid color. But he's talking about how it complements the body. And like I said, it's cool when superheroes do that, but a color is just, it doesn't enhance the suit or anything. It's part of the visual aesthetic as well. Just like those lines are. You see what I'm saying? So
it's universal. Everyone, I don't care what area you are.
okay, he's stuck on this point. He's not moving along. Let's go to the symbiote suit. Let's skip ahead. Because right now he's saying a bunch of nothing.
Now leads us to the crux of the problem. And it manifests itself in the atrocity that is the symbiote suit.
Atrocity?
I know. There are many people.
Okay, let me give my personal opinion on this suit before he continues. I've seen people complain about this suit where they say it looks bad, that it's the worst symbiote suit ever. But here's the thing. Here's what I feel on it. It looks oily. I've heard complaints about that shit, which I don't fucking understand because it's like there's a living alien directly attached onto this man. Do you forget that the symbiote is a living, breathing organism attached to Spider-Man? So, of course, it's going to look slimy, a little bit unnatural. You see the veins right here on the arm. It's a living, breathing suit. So, what is that criticism? It makes no sense. But personally, I think it's fine. For what it is, it's fine. It's on top of the advanced suit, which is going to once again mirror everything that suit had, and also add in stuff like the symbiote spider and the eyes, and clearly the hands have the white on them. So I don't really mind it. Will there be an option for a classic symbiote Spider-Man suit directly pulled from the comics that really does not mirror the advanced suit? Yes. So the problem kind of solved itself in a way. And there you have it.
People who may like the symbiote suit, they're lying to
Like if you don't like this one, pick the classic one. What is the problem?
themselves. There's some who don't mind it. Those people who say that they don't mind it. Those people don't like it. They just don't have the courage and the spine to come out and say, "I don't like it." They're
What is this involving courage? It's just a subjective thought process. You're not a coward for simply saying, "Hey, I feel this way about this superhero costume," because everyone feels different ways about certain costumes, but you're not a coward for if you like it and then you like it, you don't have a problem with it. Like me, I came out forward. There's no problem with this suit, in my personal opinion. And the stuff people have been saying about it, where it's too oily, too slimy, it's too much like a living organism, they don't understand the lore criteria behind why it looks the way it does.
many people who may like the symbiote suit. They're lying to themselves. There's some
How? How are you lying about something that you like? You like it. You have a personal positive connection to it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you like something, you like something. That is to say, it goes in reverse too. If you hate something and nothing can ever change your mind, and you can't open yourself out of the box, which you basically stay inside of the box, and you have like no sort of nuance to you whatsoever, then it is what it is. You like to dig your head in the sand. That's fine. But if people like something, they're going to like it. And they will give you valid reasons and explanations as to why.
some who don't mind it. Those people who say that they don't mind it. Those people don't like it. They just don't have the courage and the spine to come out and say, "I don't like it."
Okay.
They're willing to tolerate it.
I did a little rewind there, so if he repeated himself, that's my bad.
I will be the martyr for all of you weak people who can't voice.
Oh, so he's an asshole. All right. So basically, if you like Insomniac's symbiote suit from Marvel Spider-Man 2, you are a weak person. Just let that sink in. He's an asshole, right? You just let that sink in hard. You are weak and spineless for liking a fictional superhero suit. I think we can end the video right here. Move to the next one. what a idiot. Okay, so here we go. Spider-Man 2 looks trash? Question mark.
Do you guys know what a sequel is?
Yes, I do, but apparently a lot of people don't that are constantly criticizing this game, but let's continue. And it's like, just find something valid to find something valid to talk about. I've seen people say, "Oh, the animations are and he talks about them here." So let's just do it. Let's just dive right in, and you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about because I know what is going on with this whole debacle.
Oh my goodness. So, if you haven't heard, there are many criticisms of Spider-Man 2, the gameplay that we saw. And I have to say, a lot of the criticisms aren't valid. For example, you have people who talk about, oh, the game looks like it's PS3. Oh, the graphics look bad.
He's right. He's right there. He's right. Like, the game is a PS3 game. The graphics look bad. And I know, like, at least he has enough common sense. I was ragging on him earlier for nuance, but at least he has common sense here to know those are invalid criticisms. 100%. When people say this, oh, the graphics look bad, Insomniac said themselves that they're constantly tinkering with the graphics. This game has not gone gold yet, as far as I know. And these are old builds. Like, people don't get the concept of older builds, putting out test builds so people could play them and experience them and see them. And they enhance more and more and more until the final release. Of course, there are games that they look like shit and they come out Gold Master and it looks like that. Of course. This is why I personally say, when people say that graphics don't matter, they do. They definitely do, because the first thing you're looking at is those graphics. Of course, gameplay is king, gameplay is important, but those graphics, stop saying they don't matter, because that's a load of horse fuck, alright? You will see a game, if a AAA game looks slightly off to someone, they're going to complain about it. I've seen people complain about Mafia 2 fucking grass. Remember Grass Gates with Mafia 2, and there was a certain version, I think it was the PS3 version, that didn't have grass, and people noticed it. Something so minuscule as grass on the ground. People noticed it and complained about it. Graphics matter to some extent, otherwise you wouldn't have posts and notions like this.
I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Are you blind or dumb? Pick
I'm with them. That's so true. Are you blind or dumb? Pick one.
The game doesn't look like it's bad graphics. The game doesn't look like it's PS3 graphics or PS4 graphics. The graphics look great. Now, of course,
Spin.
We're obviously not going to get a major jump in graphics from, you know, the PS4 to the PS5. You're not going to get that same jump as when you had the PS2 and then you got like the PS4. That's not going to happen.
Agreed. I fully agree with that. It's all about, though, making the performance of the game, which SSD, faster loading, this is why they have the wingsuit and you're flying around, all of that better. That's it. That's it. That's what a sequel does. And I agree here. That's what a sequel is supposed to do. It takes the foundation of what worked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, but we're going to fix it anyway. We're going to fix it, take that foundation, and make it better. So I don't get the criticisms and arguments of people saying it's the same fucking game. As a matter of fact, since Lucas is pretty much spot on, we're going to go to a video where someone actually is complaining about the stuff on the opposite end because it's worth bringing up. I think it's this video right here. No, it's both of these actually. Spider-Man 2 is Bigger, Not Better by Boy with Crazy Hair. Oh boy.
There's that 1% of people on the internet that actually think this looks like a PS4 game, which is very unfortunate that people really got that mindset.
There were animations that I've seen, you know, in Miles Morales in
He's featuring his video now. I just skipped over and he's featuring this one. Holy shit, man.
Spider-Man 1. Now, I don't know if, you know, they did this on purpose and they didn't want to show the new web swinging animations.
I don't think that everything has to be the prettiest, hugest step up of all time in order to be good. I would really prefer that Marvel's Spider-Man does kind of what Miles and actually the Spider-Man remastered game did.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Okay, let me stop here. Animations looking similar or the same. So it goes back to this whole, oh, they're so lazy because the game does not feature any new animations whatsoever. So the game is the same game because, you know, Spider-Man has the same run animation or he swings the same, therefore it fucking sucks. It is such impulsive hatred. Number one, for that whole argument, it doesn't have new animations, so we didn't see this whole big ass fight with Lizard and new animations being present there. New animations being present in probably a lot of the newer bosses because I'm sure they're going to have takedown animations that are going to be different. They're going to have things that are going to be different there. The web wings, you couldn't fucking do that in the original. He wasn't flying around like that in the original, gliding around like that. You see what I'm saying? That was a new animation. So I believe this is why stuff like this is very disingenuous, because people will ignore it. And it's featured right in the trailer, right in the gameplay they're talking about. You see what I'm saying? That's why it makes no sense. Okay, so some of the same similar web swinging animations,
Swinging animations.
I don't think that every
but they don't talk about the gliding being new at all. That's a new animation. It counts. Fight the fucking flying through the subway cars. I don't think you could do that in the original. So that's new. And if you could, like, correct me if wrong. But I don't remember it, to be honest. But my point stands. My point is that people will flat out ignore stuff like that and say it's the same. If you're making a sequel, of course, you're building on the foundation. And I saw people correlate this with God of War Ragnarok. Oh, God. After the God of War Greek pantheon, the Norse mythology is a completely new experience now. It's a completely new game. Yes, it is, but it's a reboot. It's a soft reboot of God of War. So the gameplay is all fundamentally changed, but it's a reboot. It's not a sequel building on top of something that was previously established and cranking that up to 11 in terms of new additions, but similar fashions of what you knew that worked and differing things that are completely exclusive to that sequel. So for Last of Us Part 1 versus Last of Us Part 2, I can't dolphin dive in Last of Us Part 1. I can't go prone in Last of Us Part 1. Those features are relative to the sequel. So if I want to experience them and crawl around on the ground and do all this crazy shit and see new kill animations, then I would play that one. But if I want, obviously, the enhancements that they made to the first game with the AI, the controls, you know, it's tightened up a little bit, I would just play Part 1. And if I want the coup de grace of good gameplay that I already appreciated with Part 1 being expanded upon in Part 2, then I would play Part 2. I think people are getting... I just think that people forget the fundamental premise of sequels. You're supposed to build on top of what was old. And that's it. It doesn't mean that, oh, it's the same animations, so it sucks. This is stuff that people liked from the previous game carrying over. So what are you complaining about? Absolutely nothing.
Didn't want to show the new web swinging animation.
So let's go. I think the way that guy comes off there, he sounds like he's entitled. It's just entitlement. It's entitlement. And it's nothing wrong with wanting to see more new elements, but in my honest opinion, I would prefer if they don't spoil everything. Cause if they did, you'd be the first person to bitch like, oh, I seen everything new in the trailer as opposed to playing it. So what is the purpose of me even playing it anymore? People do that, and it's wild.
Spider-Man 2 is PlayStation's baby this year, pretty much the only thing PlayStation has this year, to be honest. Xbox, I don't think they haven't shown off yet, I think that's coming up soon, but PlayStation, Spider-Man, what else do they really have? I don't see anything on the radar, and Spider-Man 2 doesn't look anything really great.
Didn't they just have Final Fantasy 16, I know it's obviously going to be a timed exclusive, but people did enjoy that game. I found it to be kind of fun. You know what I mean? So it is something that came out this year, PlayStation wise, even if it was a timed exclusive and people were playing that. You know, you want that timed PlayStation fun, and you don't want to wait like 6 months, then it was Final Fantasy. And then he says the game doesn't look that great. Bro, what are you talking about?
To me, to be honest, it looks like it might be a decent game if you really love
It doesn't look that great. It might be a decent game. Let me fall back on that real quick. Oh my god, this is so funny.
the Spider-Man story. But as far as upgrades, graphics,
Oh, he's talking about the story. Okay, so, but still, like, what? It's like, it felt like he's trying to save himself, but then he's not gonna really describe what makes the gameplay bad, is he? Absolutely not. Okay, let me let him finish, because even I'm jumping in a little bit too much, but it's just so fucking hilarious.
it looks like it might be a decent game if you really love the Spider-Man story.
No, he's talking about, okay, so I misinterpreted that. He's talking about the actual game. So in one sentence, he says is bad, because I thought he was solely talking about the plot and everything for that second sentence. In one sentence, he says is bad, it looks bad, and then he says it looks like it could be decent. So which one is it? Pick one or the other. It's the only way. It's the only way to solve this problem, because even you're confusing me, and I'm just like, damn, bro. It's just like, damn.
But as far as upgrades graphically, I'm not seeing anything crazy. As far as animation changes, I'm not seeing anything crazy.
That was just a new animation. What is he talking about? You see that symbiote block and Spider-Man did that, like, oh, this is Sparta kick? That was new. You didn't see that in the original. And he clearly saw it. It's in his gameplay. I mean, did he edit his video and completely overlook the fact that Spider-Man just did a new animation in front of him? I'm flabbergasted. I'm so flabbergasted by this.
And that's what these people that are holding on to the thought that, oh, maybe they didn't show off some of the web animations for Spider-Man 2 yet. Maybe they're holding back animations. Yeah, right, they're holding back animations from the PlayStation Showcase. Yeah, right.
Insomniac did kind of admit that when we saw the game, it was only like 2% of what was in store. They said this themselves. We have not uncovered everything in Marvel Spider-Man 2. And those demos were only 2 or 4% is between those numbers that they said, but it's only a small percentage of what we've seen. So I think the rational thing to do is to wait until we actually see everything.
I'm sure they just can't show off the new web system they have built for Spider-Man 2.
What is this blurb? Wingsuit took 5 years of development lull, as if game development isn't hard and challenging to make something work and function. That just seems like a complete asshole comment. If you want my advice, like, this guy is just like, are you a game developer? Did you make a game? Do you know how hard it is? Could you make a wingsuit function in the span of time that Insomniac made it? Or could you make a wingsuit function in less than like 5 years? Could you do it? Let's turn the table back to you. Probably not. It's just someone talking out of their anus.
Spoiler, it doesn't exist. I'm willing to make this prediction just
Hold
because
on, let me
of
roll
how
that back.
They just can't show off the new web system they have built for Spider-Man 2.
I mean, it could feel tighter. The web swinging could feel tighter, more responsive. obviously better on the haptics. It's not just, see, what people like to do is they like to just think visual all of the time. They see a couple of animations from an older build and they say, oh, it's the same game, but it's not the same as actually feeling it in your hands, playing it, and see what is improved from there. And I think web swinging is one of those things. We're talking about movement where it's 100% based, and let me pick this up, on a stick, on your controller, on my DualSense right here, which I'm holding. I need to feel how responsive this mechanic is before I even talk about it. Because that's how it's always been for Spider-Man. Feeling the web swinging and seeing how responsive it is on your controller to your monitor.
Spoiler, it doesn't exist. I'm willing to make this prediction just
Oh my god, what is he talking about?
because of how confident I am, and also just because
Your confidence is for shit.
they came out with the wingsuit. Now, this is what you have to understand about the wingsuit. The fact that they showed off the wingsuit means they probably didn't work on the web system as much.
Huh? Are you kidding me? Did he really just say that? Dislike. I'm hitting the dislike button. I'm trying to process that. Just give me some time, people. Holy, did he really just say that? Okay. So how can I put this? Well, first and foremost, that was the dumbest Spider-Man comment I ever heard in history. He trumped Amazing Lucas. Holy shit. Like, I thought that symbiote video was bad, but this is also, like, this is just pure wonton gonad cancer. Okay. What's wrong with having options in mobility? For superhero games, you could run on walls, right? You can jump off of stuff. I mean, considering how far, like, games like Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, like, you don't have to scale walls. You don't have to do that. You can just run up them, do omega massive jumps over the environment. You can literally jump so fucking high, it's ridiculous. But those options are there. You can surf on a bus if you want to. It's part of the element, part of the fun. So in Spider-Man's case, you can choose to web swing, and it's probably a caveat to gliding around because obviously, you know, you need momentum to glide around in the environment in the first place, and you slowly descend when you glide. I don't think he was really thinking that through. When you glide in a superhero game, and this happened in Prototype, so you already know, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's not like flying. You glide slowly and slowly and slowly, and if you glide in a straight path, near the end, you're going to be near the ground. I don't know if it will function in the same vein, but I'm just giving an explanation that if it is the same with the momentum, then clearly speaking, Spider-Man is going to lose his sort of descents the more you just glide straight. And then there's going to be people that will web swing anyway because it's cathartic. It's Spider-Man. Who doesn't want to see how the swing pointing feels like around the town? There's nothing wrong with giving options in mobility at all. In my opinion, that makes the game stronger because of it. Because I have options.
They realize that if they just go ahead and add the wingsuit into this game, it's almost like a little bit of a cover-up or fix of the web system.
No, it's not. It's just, oh my god. It's just adding on to the mobility. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. You could just swing around. Well, I take that back slightly. It seems like in that mission where, maybe, I don't know. It could be open-ended missions with the way you approach them. So maybe in that whole lizard fight, you don't have to like sort of wing glide around. Maybe you could web swing. Now that I think about it, yeah, I almost corrected myself, but now I take that back, because if they have open-ended mobility, then you could do whatever the fuck you want. And it's not a big problem. Oh man. And there are superhero games like that, or you could just go in and do what you want. Sometimes that happens in some of the Arkham games, where you could just approach a situation in the way that you need to, whether it's going loud or confronting a situation where you're trying to be sneaky and quiet.
And I'm not saying necessarily the web system in Spider-Man 2018 or Miles Morales were necessarily bad. They need a revamp. I've been playing the remastered version.
He said that they need a revamp. I mean, it was fundamentally fine for what it was. If you want to see very dated web swinging, and this is not a knock to this game. I know people love this game. They love it to death. But I gotta come clean. Spidey PS1. That is some rough web swinging. And I get it. It was their first time doing a system like that. It's not gonna be perfect in 3D, no less. But going back to it now, the web swinging is fundamentally dated, and not only that, you were web swinging to the sky, so it wasn't realistic to the point of Spider-Man actually web swung, and web points were on buildings, and you can see the web lines trace off of buildings. It was next level stuff with Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 with the web swinging, and Insomniac just basically perfected that. They took that system and they said, hey, we're gonna do our own rendition and have more locomotive abilities with Spider-Man running very quickly in the environments, running up walls, running through, fucking banisters and stuff like that. It just is common knowledge. Every Spider-Man fan who has an intermediate knowledge of the web swinging knows this, that it was improved from game to game. And to this point, the point that we got here with Miles, you could do electric like slides in the air and fucking do all this crazy trick shit in that game, and it was awesome.
Version on PC quite a bit just to, go back and feel how it really is. It's really just, autopilot. There's no real interactivity with the web system in the game.
I'm just gonna say he is flat out 100% completely incorrect. I'm not even gonna waste my breath on trying to counter that, where he said you're mostly on autopilot for Spider-Man PS4 when swinging around. That right there is just that's all I need to say. I could just end the video now and be done with that one. Yep. You know what? No. I gotta hear more stupid. I gotta do it. I gotta do it for the culture. Oh, what time are we at now with this reaction? It's been 38 minutes. Let's keep going. Let's keep going, baby.
It feels pretty smooth, but it gets very boring in a short amount of time. It's just the fact that as a player, you have zero control over it. You hold down R2.
Wrong.
And after like an hour or two of web swinging, it just gets so unbearably boring to even
Wrong.
try to finish the story or do
You're wrong.
anything else. This is just how I think. 5 years after
How you think is wrong and trash.
Spider-Man 2, 5 years.
Oh my god, man. I don't know where to begin on that. What human on the planet has said it feels like autopilot? You're still swinging through points. Like, do those like Taskmaster drone missions and say it's on autopilot then. Where if you do those missions and is really like against the time, is really against the clock, and you have to make minimal mistakes in order to catch up with the drones, I bet you every single time you just say, I'm gonna tap R2, you will fail. You will fail those missions each and every single time if you don't apply any sort of understanding to your environment and understanding to how to get around those buildings.
Years. and we're not even going to get a revamp of the web system. They're covering it up with a wingsuit. There was
That's just some bullshit perspective you made up in your head because you want to devalue the game. That's it.
a unique slingshot move they showed off that was
That's awesome! I can super slingshot and go faster with the web swinging. You just said earlier they are adding nothing to the web swinging mechanics, but you just showed something that was cool that actually adds to gaining momentum in the city. What are you talking about?
pretty cool, but besides that, you
He
can
said it was cool too. It's like, what? Oh man, self-defeatist logic. I love it every time. As I kick my I kick my little desk here. I'm sorry about that if you heard that noise, but holy damn. This is bad. This is a terrible video.
tell the system is exactly the same as it was. The way they would sell this game to me
So he completely showed Miles doing a new animation and a takedown, and he compared it to Spider-Man PS4 Pete, where he can do none of that. This video hurts my balls. Like, this is just bad. Oh my god, what the hell?
is if they had more interactivity in the open world and they actually had a new advanced web swinging system. Then I would look at this game and say, okay, this is definitely worth it if you have a PS5. This is definitely a step up. But what I'm seeing right now, I'm seeing a slight graphical step up, nothing crazy from PS4 to PS5. This is a PS5 only game, and
I don't know why see, this is not the same gap as you went from PS1 to PS2. I guess he's expecting a generational leap in graphics, and honestly, even with this whole entire thing, you know, and they have new animations, new things, symbiote suit, toggle, control, stuff like that that you couldn't do, he's not paying attention to any of that. There was clearly refinements made even in the old build of the Spider-Man 2 demo.
graphically so far, I'm not seeing anything crazy like people would probably expect. I'm looking at this game and I'm saying, wow, if you have a PS5, you have nothing else to buy, and
What? What? You have a PS5 and you have nothing else to buy? My brother in Christ, I have bought plenty of games, first party, third party, indie, on my PlayStation 5 because I was invested and wanted to play them. I bought Sifu on the PS5. I wanted to play it there. I hate when people say that bull crap. There's nothing to play. There's plenty to play. You're just not looking in the right place, and what you people tend to do, and you don't admit it, is you just look at the AAA first party side. And that's the downfall of your interest in gaming, and you don't expand your horizons. You just worry about when is the next AAA title coming out. And that's fine to like AAA. I love AAA gaming, but there is more variety and scope to gaming when you go outside of the box and you try to find other stuff. What is that AA studio doing, or what is this indie doing, as opposed to saying, oh, I'm just worried about what Sony first party releases. Yep, I'm just worried about that. I'm gonna be waiting like a year in between each time just to see what Sony releases, and I don't pay any attention or mind to dry periods. And when they have dry periods of no releases, if they're not releasing a AAA game every 2 to 3 months, I'm gonna get mad about it. That's what people be doing, and it blows my mind. Game development takes time and money. I'm sorry to say it. You can sugarcoat it no matter how much you want. Game development takes time, takes money. And that time sometimes is going to be spent waiting until the next big profile release comes out.
And this game isn't really too much of a step up unless you're really looking forward to the story, which personally I am not. And that's really what they're pushing with this game, is the
Oh wow. Very, very interesting. So the entire idea of the symbiote and hate and all of that stuff in the story is just nah. That's all they're pushing. Now, of course, I think I know what he's gonna say next. Let me predict this.
Story, Venom, Lizard. I am not. And that's really what they're pushing. This game isn't really too much of a step up unless you're really looking forward to the story, which personally I am not. And that's really what they're pushing with this game is the story, Venom, Lizard, whoever else the other hunter guy is.
Craven the Hunter, which, you know. Oh man. Okay. So that aside, from that correction, here's the thing with that criticism that he said, right? So he said, "Oh, they're pushing story, they're pushing Venom, all this other stuff." You know, they said this eons ago, right? But what does he expect in demos featuring story presentations explaining more of the story and these characters that you're going to be pitted against in the game? Like, he expect, like, what does he expect? Does he expect the boat people to just randomly be there from Spider-Man PS4 unexplained and you're fighting them as the big bads? Like, what do you expect? People like Venom because he is one of Spider-Man's greatest adversaries next to Green Goblin. People like Craven because, once again, he's an iconic villain in Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery. So he's going to be featured here if he's prominent in the game, just like any other villain, just like that pseudo little merry band of bitches that beat Spider-Man's ass, Sinister Six. They're going to be featured because they're interconnected as villains and they have to be explained, because if you don't explain them, people will complain. So they're basically putting their command presence in the game and leading them up to what is hopefully stellar boss fights.
That's what they're pushing. That's what they were talking about at the Summer Games Fest. The map is 2 times bigger.
That's a good thing.
Again, I don't think a bigger map is bad. I just think developers nowadays make a bigger map and then they do nothing else in the world.
Only if you're Ubisoft. Ouch! Ouch!
Like, I know for this game, they're going to have the map 2 times bigger supposedly than the first, but they're going to have probably not any increase in the interactivity in the open world.
That is a prediction that could come false if the game comes out, because he's basing it on assumption. That's a complete assumption. Oh, it's not going to be as interactive as before, or interactive as much at all. And it's like, at that point, have you played the game, fam? I need your time machine. It's not October yet. You're in October. I'm all the way stuck here in August. Where's your time machine? Give that to me right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Where's that shit right now? Because you're not making any sense.
Guarantee you this is going to have the same amount, maybe a little bit better of interactivity in
Hold
the
on.
open world as Spider-Man.
Oh, my dog was going crazy, so I had to check my volume peaks for like a second. My apologies if you hear that.
Spider-Man 1 did. And Spider-Man 1, I mean, it was okay. There's fighting crimes every now and then. There's collecting backpacks. But besides that, there's not too much to really do. I will admit,
I criticized Spider-Man PS4 for the side missions. I thought they were kind of boring as well. So, in the grand scheme of this video that we have not finished, I actually will agree with that. I think the side missions could have been better. Could have been better fleshed out, realized, as opposed to just flying through smog for Harry Osborn and thinking that's fun while Spider-Man slowly kills himself. I didn't like those at all. And you know, I'm not a really big fan of collectathons in open world games. I feel very vocal about this. If I do them, it's just to platinum the game, like I did for Horizon Zero Dawn. It's not for the fun of it all and the entertainment. It's the fun to get that platinum. So hold on and give me a second, people. I have captured my Poochie, my dog, because she was distracting me. That's a good baby. No more yelling as daddy talks about Spider-Man. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, collectathons are boring. So I do agree with that. Get some more variety in your side missions as I fix my mic. Get some more variety there in your side missions, your side content, and I will be perfectly content with that. Before we continue on, as I said, I apologize. And let's see what else this guy has to say.
Admit the new Venom combat looks pretty cool, but for me, that's not really enough. When you look at the other things that they're
The Venom combat isn't cool. So having possibly symbiote Venom, now of course they could make it even cooler if they decide to add Venom in the game as DLC. I think it's gonna be, that would be a great standalone DLC if you could play as Venom. You could do it in Ultimate Spider-Man, that would be cool, but Venom is not cool to play as for abilities? Not having Venom abilities isn't cool to a person as a pitch? I would just have to imagine that opinion is coming from someone who is not really big on Spider-Man. I'm sorry. That's how, or superheroes in general. It's just not for you at this rate.
neglecting here. Open world's probably going to be neglected, but big. Just
That's a bullshit assumption once again.
how every other game is coming out now. Same web swinging, they just throw a wingsuit in there to make it better. I just don't like that. I don't like that. The fact that they're focusing too much on the story and making.
Okay, I'm gonna deduce this video, I'm gonna skip it, to a bunch of lazy, shallow, very disingenuous, very just uneducated opinions on superheroes, the game itself, and making overly gross assumptions that will probably mean nothing when the game comes out. We're moving on to the next one. Okay, I'm almost an hour in, and I don't know how much stupidity I could take. But I will say this. This is the common problem. These armchair graphical enthusiasts not knowing what they're talking about, saying, oh, Miles doesn't look wet, this game is not what I expected from a PS5 only exclusive, the game needs much more time, delay it. Let Insomniac decide if they're going to delay the game or not. I think it's pretty much on track for October. Random internet guy. And this comment from Furious79 sums it up. You could release the best thing ever, the best looking trailer, the best looking game, and there will be a 5 to 10% ratio of people that will still complain. You can't please everyone is a real thing. Indeed, it is. 100%. And I find most of this, it's the same game, it's the same sort of premise. They didn't really fix anything. I just find this to be a bunch of over assumptive nitpicking at best. And then we have the final video here, the one that started it all, the granddaddy of nitpicking, when David Jaffe said that God of War Ragnarok looks like DLC. And I'm going to let him explain his point. I'm going to give mine, and then I'm going to end it here.
Hey, it's Jaffe. I want to do a very fast video to address this question. I've gotten this about 5 times literally today in the last hour and a half. I assume maybe something I've tweeted in the past got retweeted by someone and it's dredged this up again. But somebody asked me, and I was able to actually have the time to articulate specifically what I would want to have seen in the God of War Ragnarok trailer, okay? Here's this guy. This isn't the one I responded to, but this is similar to the comments I've been getting. Latin Vamp, he says, how do you come with the conclusion that the new God of War looks like DLC from one trailer? You don't know what the whole game has to offer yet. I can say the same thing about God of War 2 when they first showed it, and I would be completely wrong. Actually, Latin Vamp, that's not true. And I can tell you how that's not true. But before I do, let me say, again, it does look like DLC for the most part to me. DLC is not a bad thing. God of War 2018 was one of my favorite games that came out that year. And beyond that, it was a phenomenal game. Loved it. And if what God of War Ragnarok is simply more of that, maybe pushed a little bit, great. I'll play it and I'll enjoy it. But my whole video or my whole comment was about the trailer didn't make me feel. Now it made other people feel, and that's great. But it didn't make me feel, and clearly it didn't make you feel that either, because you're saying you didn't see anything that felt all that different compared to like even God of War 1 and God of War 2 back in the day. So I was just saying, yeah, I'm excited to play it because it's God of War, but the trailer was okay. Okay. But the point is, though, I don't think you're right. If you go back and look at the God of War 2 trailer, and I believe this is the first one that was, it was the E3 reveal trailer. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'll scrub through it. Did you get the idea that it was more of God of War that you loved? Absolutely. You sure as fuck did. The grapple and the chains, and he was the big set pieces and going hand over hand. All that was in there, okay? But what was also in here was, why is this so, there we go. You had the flying stuff with Pegasus, which we had never done before, which at the time was like, holy shit, that was the big moment that we were busting our asses for, or the team was busting their asses for. I was in San Diego to get ready for E3. You had grappling, which we had never done before, sort of like swinging, and sort of building that into various puzzles. That was in there. You had more proof of even bigger wow moments of not context sensitive, but big opening vista shots like the Colossus of Rhodes, or you saw, I forget what they're called, but
All right, I'm gonna stop it here. So there's, how do I say this? I think there's this vast misunderstanding of sequels, clearly. And the point that the guy was trying to make was that, Jaffe, you are saying that it feels like DLC, and it feels like you're sort of diminishing the new stuff that Ragnarok attempted. In my opinion, it would be pretty incredible if we got like a standalone DLC to that magnitude, where it's like all new story context, where of course there are standalone DLCs that do that, but for like 60 hours, priced at, a low amount or something like that. That'd be pretty fucking amazing. I'd take that, you know what I mean? But the thing is, it seems like you were downplaying it when Ragnarok didn't show all that it had to offer, which was, of course, the Dropnir Spear, which was a new weapon. It was a new weapon. It was new story context. It was new side missions. It was new enemies. Just as you showed, there is new enemies. As you explained, there is new mechanics that you showed in the trailer. And there is, of course, things that we didn't see in that trailer. Bosses, I'm pretty sure, probably like, I don't know if they showed all Zeus in this trailer or not, like stuff like that. New content, new fights that probably didn't even make it in this trailer. He's saying that you didn't give it enough of a fair shake before just billing it and labeling it as DLC, saying that he could have said the same thing, and that would have proved his point. That's kind of where I think he's getting at, is that you just sort of deduced this about Ragnarok. You said, cool, this is kind of how I feel about the trailer. When that game came out, and it has a lot going on in the background, and I've beaten Ragnarok, I've played it. They've changed up the realms, so they're not 100% similar to how they were in 2018, which only required playing the game to know that. So he's saying you made a preconceived argument based on the trailer alone. Sometimes the trailer does spoil everything, it shows you everything, and other times it's not enough to gauge what a sequel is actually doing and gauging the scale from there. And I think that's part of the problem. Some people don't have all of the facts yet. They have remnants of some older animations and walk animations and run speeds and dodging and all this stuff that might have been present in the previous game, but when the sequel is unearthed and when it actually does have a lot of differing content, weapons, enemies, set pieces, it basically shows that the sequel is an addition to the original, and that's something to look forward to. I'm Renegade Operative. I'm signing out. I'm tired of these arguments. I just feel like now, oh, I'm sneezy puppy. I'm sorry, Dougie. I'm sorry you got the cold. I'm comforting my baby. But I'm tired of these arguments where people just sort of take, it's the same game and they just run with it and not really delving into the toy box as to what a sequel is actually supposed to do, which is expand the original game. I'm looking forward to Spider-Man 2. I will be playing it, covering it on my channel, and hopefully you guys enjoy that playthrough, and I'll tell you all about it when it comes out, like a normal human being. I'll see you guys next time. Later.